All right, you guys. So we're having a problem. Um, so no live radio show today. So what I thought I would do is just nonetheless do the uh, do the online version of it for a little bit. We'll see if people have questions and comments. If not, then I'll just bail. So on Facebook we got things going, and on YouTube. So don't know what happened, but I have a machine here to my left, right here, and it wouldn't connect on their end. Um, okay, I'll talk about Diane. So it would not connect on their end. So no live radio show. We have a way of connect. There's two ways of connecting. One is by typing, and where I get the calls, and I can govern how the calls are working. And the other one is the phones, and then they talk to each other. The phones thing, a machine wouldn't work, wouldn't connect to their end. Says their server was busy, so something's on their end. That's what it is. So no show today, no live show. So here we are. And Russia, not that we're not having a live show today. And let me get on to Facebook and check out what's going on there, and maybe I'll just do a few Q&As here. Diane, John Baker want to know about Diane. Diane um, was she passed away a couple weeks ago, and she was a real asset to CARM. I spoke at the funeral. They wanted me to say something, and I was really surprised when I was at the funeral how many times CARM and I was mentioned by people. I had no idea, did not expect that, but apparently everybody knew how much she loved working on CARM, and it was just so much of her life. And yeah, I cut my own hair, and so anyway, so when I got up there, I said, CARM's a difficult ministry to be involved in. You have to be hard-headed, stubborn, and people are smiling and nodding because that's exactly what Diane was: hard-headed and stubborn, very determined. And I said that. I said she's hard-headed, she's stubborn, and she's determined. And people are nodding and smiling. And I said that's exactly what we needed. And I said most people had to be like me, I have mental problems to do this, but she was, and so it was just a good thing we talked about, and we went out to dinner afterwards, and people were really appreciative. They told me. So, anyway, what Diane did was she ran the forums, and we're going to find someone to replace her now. She ran the forums, and she did the podcasts, put the podcasts up, and so for the radio show, and we don't have the information, and so that's it, done. Um, we got to figure out what we're going to do about that. So anyway, I'm looking at the Facebook. I'm looking at. Can I put these together here? Facebook and YouTube. So if anybody's got any comments or questions, just go ahead and fire it out. And if not, no big deal. Um, okay, because I'm watching both feeds now on the same screen right underneath the camera, so it looks like I'm looking at the camera. Hey, maybe I should do that more often like this. All right. You're on Pal Talk Saturday. I was on Pal Talk again. I haven't been on for like a year, and they're still as hostile as ever. I've been going there a little bit, trying to pass time. The same old anti-Calvinism, the same old bigotry and stuff is like that. Have trouble trusting anyone named Slick. Just saying, yeah, yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So what it is? Okay, fire questions at me, guys, or I'll just quit after a little bit. Oh yeah, that's good iced tea. Oh, you want to hear it again? Hold on. That was good. Yep. Oh, you like the iced tea on Facebook? Okay. Bible ever show that God will hold us unaccountable to tradition? Hold us unaccountable. Uh, Jesus says to do this in remembrance of me in the communion. That's the tradition that we're supposed to be doing. So we should be doing that. Slurpee, that's right, unaccountable. How do you interpret John 4, 1 John 4, 17, 18 properly? That's how I do it. How do you do it? That's what I do. Next question. That's how I interpret it. Let's see. Hold on a sec here. Well, I gave you the answer about the accountable and tradition, things like that. All right. Let's see. Any other questions or comments? Islamicize me. Yeah, actually, Vocab, who was in the video, when I was down in Arizona, Vocab was one of the guys, and we hung around a little bit. He showed it to me while we're there, so it was cool. As you can say about Sheol, how does that fit into Christian salvation? I'm going to hold off talking about Sheol until I do a more complete study on it. Let's see. What was that going to be right there? Oh, get all these things going. When teaching, how do you handle persistent complainers and those with general negative attitude? Depends on the situation and the person. Mostly, I'm just very patient, but sometimes they get under my skin, depending on circumstances, situations, obstreperousness, and things like that. Perfect love casts all fear. I'm not sure exactly what it means. Love is perfected with us. Let's see. Perfect love casts out fear. I think it means the perfect love of God and our trust in God casts out all fear. And that we have not received a spirit of slavery or of fear, but one of faith and trust, knowing that God loves us completely and truthfully. That's what I think it means. Sounds good. Thanks, Matt. How do you deal with those people who still believe in Jesus but don't worship him? They just do not worship him as God. Well, then they don't worship him. They don't believe in him properly. See, if you say you believe in Jesus, but you don't worship him as God, then you're not believing in Jesus. You're believing in something else called Jesus, but it's not really him. So you need to correct them theologically. All right. I've had a whale of a time with these hateful people lately. That's what it is. Just get used to it. People hate Jesus. In fact, the Supreme Court nominee is being cross-examined because of his religious belief, and his Christianity is being attacked. This country has gone so far downhill that that people would attack a Christian for his views. I was thinking, what if they said to me, I was somehow being interviewed for the Supreme Court, and they'd say, would your religious beliefs influence you? I'd say, of course they would. Everybody's beliefs influences them. How could you say they won't influence me? Of course, everybody's. I'd say if you're an atheist or a secular humanist, your positions are going to influence you. Everybody. I mean, what's the big deal? I'd quote some of the founding fathers who said that there were. Did you know that some of the constitutions of the states, you had to be a Christian in order to hold an office? They understood how important it was. Paltalk.com, Yvonne, and the new interface is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. People complain about it. It is, now that I think about it, that interface is probably the worst interface of any interface on the entire internet I've ever encountered. Not kidding. So I use the old version of Paltalk, and it's you can find it. I forgot where, but just go on, look for paltalk.com and find the old one, because the new one is web browser based. Sucks, rocks. And the other one, a little window that comes up, and you have a little. It's so much better. What's my knowledge of the Talmud and Kabbalah? Not very much. If you doubt your salvation, then wouldn't that mean that you fear God's punishment? Probably. Yeah. Okay. What do you do with Unitarians? Depends on the Unitarian. What's going on? Let's see. Agree. Eats up resources. I'll look it up. Yeah, it's. I uninstalled the new Paltalk. I had to get rid of it. It was pathetically bad. I can't even say how bad it was. It's seriously the worst. It just sucks. So use the old one. Okay, liberals are driven by rage and not by ideology. Their issues. No, they're driven by ideology, liberal ideology. They are mental. The liberals are mental. When Obama, that liberal wacko, was president, did you see the conservatives rioting and threatening people? No. But when it doesn't go their way, they riot, they threaten people. They don't know what it means to live in a democracy and to have to deal with things that don't go your way. They're entitled little children. They're baby men and baby women, man babies and women babies. It is so bad. It is. Oh yeah, it's liberals are whack, Keith. I think what Christians need to do is really start to be strong, and that Waters World. He goes out and he asks people questions, and you should watch those things because man, you know, they'll ask, "What do you think?" Before Trump even announced the Supreme Court nominee. This is like last week. Waters went out and said, "What do you think of Trump's nomination for the Supreme Court?" And these people going, "Oh, it was horrible. So just bad. It was bad. It was." They aren't even informed. In my opinion, and I am serious, in my opinion, the news media and the educational system are horrible. They're so liberal, but the news media in particular is so stinking bad. I wish that some multimillionaire would sue CNN, USA Today, MSNBC, sue these news outlets um, because they are inciting riots by only showing negative things about the police, basically. They are countless times showing misinformation about the Republican Party, which I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, folks, but the disinformation, the negativity. In fact, when my wife and I were watching something, what was it? And I forget what it was. It was about a person who was nominated or something. I don't think it was the Supreme Court. It was anyway, and they interviewed people who had it was a conservative that what the topic was about, and so they interviewed liberals about the conservative, and all it was sound bites about the liberals saying how bad this person was. Oh, bad, 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 bad. And then in like 5 seconds it said uh, there were others who thought that he was a good candidate, and that was it. It was 2 minutes of negativity and 5 seconds of positive, and then it was ignored and went on to the next topic. This is how the media is. You can't trust them. You cannot trust them. Yeah, I heard Hillary's running for president again. I think it's a good thing. I think she's going to implode again. She's going to divide the Democratic Party, and I'll tell you one thing: it's going to bring a lot of conservatives out from the shadows, and they're going to start voting because they're not going to want to see Hillary. And a lot of people are really, really tired of this idiocy of the left, threatening people, uh, going to their homes, going to out to eat when people got to eat, going and hassling them, harassing them, you know. And was it Maxine Waters? She's a mental case. She's crazy. Well, let me tell you something about Hillary running. I knew a guy who ran for the Missouri Senate. He was a conservative, he was a Christian. And what happened was the media reported stories of anybody who would say anything negative about him, things that weren't even true. They didn't even verify anything. They just reported so and so says such and such. He spent a lot of his time just defending against lies, flat out lies, where his opponent, it didn't happen to because his opponent was liberal. But he was still winning in the state. And it was so close that they could tell that the votes were so close. He told me what happened. He said the major county that was going to be the deciding county, Suddenly, unexpectedly, the voting machines in the county all stopped working. And so they had to very quickly swap out all the voting machines. And the company that did it worked for the other side. And he said he could not believe it. This is what happened, and it was obvious that was what's happening, and he lost the election because of it. And I said, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah." And nobody said anything. The news media didn't do a thing about this kind of travesty of justice. That's the state of our news media. I don't trust them, period. They're liars. They're liberals. They're wackos. I do not trust the media at all. Yeah, Goebbels' propaganda machine is in place. Absolutely. When I think of seriously, when I think of our media, I very often associate it with the Nazi propaganda machine, and I'm not joking. That's what's in my head. Oh, it's just like the Nazis did, just like the Nazis. Oh yeah, same thing. They said control the media and control the kids. That's what they said. You can control the nation. What happens? Our education controls the kids, and our media controls, well, means everything else. That's what's going on. Good journalism is gone. In fact, I remember that reminds me, Floating Axe. There's an old black and white movie. Clark Gable was the star of the movie, and it had to do with um, a newspaper and being a reporter. And I I don't know if they're ever going to have that movie to play again, because if I remember it correctly, there was a girl he was interested in, and the girl's father had won a Pulitzer Prize for writing. One article he wrote was just brilliant. And so Clark Gable, I forgot his character's name, was going in to check on him, and he'd passed away. Check on the daughter, cute and romance, blah blah blah. And he read more of this guy's material and found out that the guy he was a horrible writer. It was a fluke. He wrote this one piece that was brilliant, and that's why he won. There was a scene later on where Clark Gable was speaking to a college class or something like that about journalism, and that's what was that's what was so fascinating, is the way the objectivity, if I remember correctly, the objectivity that was required in order to report the news. And it was a extremely respected, morally important position to report things accurately and truthfully. I remember that movie. I have no idea what it is, but that is not the case anymore. It's all about agenda, leftist agenda. My wife was years ago, she was at an anti-abortion rally, and she was livid that night because the news media was there filming everybody. And she told me that the Christians were sitting and praying quietly, and the liberal leftist baby killers were screaming and doing all kinds of stuff, and for like 2 hours, and the Christians were just sitting there. The cameras did not film the protesters, the pro-aborts, the baby killers, did not film them in their aggression, their foul language, their yelling and their screaming. And what happened was, after a couple hours of this, one Christian stood up and yelled back at him, and the cameras filmed him. And Nick was right there. My wife was right there, and she saw it happen. And she said that night on the news, the headlines was "Christian almost causes riot at anti-abortion rally." My wife, I had to stay 10 feet away from her because I don't want to get my head snapped off. She was so angry at the deliberate lie, the lying that was produced by the news media on that topic. Lies. The news media doesn't care about truth. It only cares about agenda. It's full of liars. Leftist agenda to destroy this country. And now the rise of democratic socialism. Oh my goodness. Any rate, logic courses? Are you kidding? They're not going to teach logic, because if people could think critically, then the left wouldn't have any people following them. Future podcasts, we don't know what's going to happen with them yet. I may have to just do some research and figure out how to get podcasts going again, and I don't know what we're going to do, because when Diane passed away, all that information went with her. Okay. You guys ever heard of this website? I'm going to type it in both places. Conservative Tribune.com. I recommend you guys check it out. Seriously. Okay, what's Vikings saying? Okay. Well, Charlie watches the text, so if he hasn't kicked him out. Hey, let's see what's going on here. Hold on. Carm, this is Matt.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. I'm calling about my online account with you guys. I make an online donation of a certain amount.
Okay, well, tell you what. Let me get your info, and I'll have the person who takes care of that contact you. Okay. What's your name?
Neil Chisholm.
Okay, how do you spell last name? Hism?
ISOLM.
Okay. And okay, good. And what's your phone number?
407.
Okay.
557.
Okay.
I actually just went online in my account and I ended a $20 a month
Okay.
gift.
Well, our new system will have that option, but tell you what, I will tell her, and she will get a hold of you. She'll contact you within probably the next hour. How's that? All right, man. God bless. Thanks. Okay, bye. All right, there you go. Whoa. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. Print this out. Yeah. Carm is so broke right now. How broke is it? We can't even afford computer printer toner right now. What do you think about feet washing? Don't have to do it. If people want to do it, they can do it, but I don't think it's necessary. What are your thoughts on Reforming American Ministries claiming that theology gals telling lies about them? I have no idea what that's talking about. Recently turned my wife onto them, and I hear this news about them. I don't know. I don't even know anything about anything on it. So I guess what website? Russia. What? You mean they're actually asking what religion you are on a tax return? Warsaw ghettos. Yeah, there's some stuff. Why is everyone so consumed with the pre-trib rapture? Because they want to get out of this crap. They don't want to have to go through death. Like they're so heavenly minded. Yeah, that's, yeah. Your racist friend likes Conservative Tribune? Okay. We need to check a box on text return. What are your thoughts on reforming America? I don't know about that. Okay. All right. Thanks for all your videos. For watching. Minnie and I have been seeking more and more. Got to read the Bible. However, I've come to conclude that Trinity is false. What do you think? Go here and look up Trinity and read what it is, because you may have misinformation on it. And you have to understand that the term person is a theological term, okay, in the Trinity. Person's not like you and I, body of flesh and bones. That's something to do different theologically. Okay, Tina. Yeah, I'm going to get to these guys later. I'm under such heavy stress that I don't have much patience and room for anything right now. All right. Yeah, go there and look. Read up on the Trinity. Read up on several articles on the Trinity. And there's a chart there, the Trinity chart. You'll be able to see things on it. All right. I think I'm going to get going, folks. It's been a half hour. I'm going to go check on my wife. And hopefully we'll be on the air tomorrow, to get their tech problem fixed. All right. Matthew 24. Okay.